Hey everyone, it's Ryan Howe with Small Business News. I got a good one for you today. Strategic planning is dead. At least that's what Fast Company says in the article we're going to check out in a second. And it's been dead for a while for a good reason. Folks have been doing it wrong. They've just been doing it incorrectly, and they mistake strategic planning for setting up the processes and the framework in order to have strategic action, which we're going to get into here in a little bit. For those that don't know, this is the show where I bring you just some of the information I share with my clients every single day. I'm a business coach who works out of West Michigan and around the country, and I hope to earn your subscription. So let's get right into it here. This is from fastcompany.com. You can check out the links below here in the description. Strategic planning is dead. This is why we need to revive it. Now, strategic planning has the potential to be one of the activities that has the most impact on an organization. And that's what the important word there is, potential. It has the potential to have the most impact. However, this potential is often squandered due to a lack of genuine engagement and an over-reliance on outdated methods. And let's see what they're talking about here. Now, repeating the same action over and over, expecting a different outcome, that's the definition of insanity. Still, when it comes to strategic planning, many companies simply open last year's slide deck, change the date, and proceed as if the formulaic exercise will have a transformative effect on the future direction of the business. This mechanical approach to strategic planning underscores a deeper issue. We're not being honest about the process. We're stuck in the same old patterns, and it's time to confront this problem head on. Absolutely. This is one of the first misconceptions that my clients have, is that strategic planning is something that they do every year, and it's just, hey, let's look what we did before and just maybe update it. And that's not what strategic planning is. For something so important to an organization's well-being, the planning process has become performative, an exercise full of wishes and well-intentioned goals. Let's look at these percentages. 48% of all organizations fail to meet at least half of their strategic targets. 61% of C-level executives acknowledge their firms struggle to bridge the gap between strategy formulation and day-to-day implementation, and 47% of team members don't know how their leadership is tracking the strategy execution. All right, now let's go back over those numbers real quick. When we talk about 48% of all organizations fail to meet at least half their strategic targets, that's assuming they have strategic targets. The vast majority of businesses don't have what would be considered strategic targets. They just don't. They have an idea of where they'd like to go, but they haven't done the heavy lifting to show exactly how those targets help them meet their long-term strategy. Now, 61% of C-level executives acknowledge their firms struggle to bridge the gap. It's because the C-level folks typically don't understand the day-to-day operations. It's just not something they do, and that's where you see that disconnect happens. And then 47% of team members don't know how their leadership is tracking the strategy execution. We talk about that at length with my clients as well too. That's something that everyone should understand the strategy. Everyone should know where the goalposts are, where the gates are at, whatever phrase you want to use, and should be actively updating everyone on those things and seeking feedback on what they're doing. All right, let's get back into this here. Given hundreds and sometimes thousands of hours that are spent annually, this lack of impact in strategic planning is detrimental. It leads to strategic plans that are outdated before they're finalized, disconnected from the real challenges and opportunities the organization faces. Absolutely. So let's see what they recommend here. First, kill your company. Good strategic planning means taking a hard look at what's working and what's not. Start by giving your team permission to really look at what needs improving by giving them an out-of-company experience. Ask them to imagine that they are your number one competitor, then analyze your business as if you were the competition, attacking weaknesses and trying to make your company, product, or service irrelevant. I think that's a really nice approach to have during your workshop when you're doing your strategic planning sessions. So the question before we even go on to there is do you actually have an ideal client? Have you done your avatars? For those that don't know and would like to learn more about how to do those things, please reach out, summitbusinessguys.com. I can help you with those things. But you want to be able to ask those questions. If they want to go after our clients, do they know the pain points? And how are we not meeting those pain points of our clients? It's an important question. Typically, when you ask that question, you're going to see the gaps that exist. Commit to stopping things. When building a plan, it's easy to get overloaded. Keep your strategy powerful but realistic by asking teams to include a list of things they'll commit to stop doing next year to achieve their goals. Think about how important that is. Here's what we're going to stop doing so we can focus on the things we should be doing. This accomplishes two things, makes them think through the tasks, projects, and processes getting in the way of meeting their goals. And second, by getting buy-in on stopping these practices going forward, it eliminates future excuses for why goals might not be met. I think that's great. And then you want to build in time for strategic thinking. The bigger issue is that we aren't giving ourselves the time to think strategically. The frenetic pace of business leaves little room for deep reflection and meaningful planning. According to research from Bridges Business Consultancy, 48% of leaders spend less than 1 day per month discussing strategy. Now, the rest of the article is going to be there for you to go check out. Again, links are going to be in the description. And I want to address that last piece here. It's one of the first things that I work with my clients is when I come in, I'm like, okay, how can we get you 1 hour per week? Like, let's start with that. How can I get you 1 hour per week to focus on your work? With the goal of being, how can I get them to 1 day per week where it's 20% of their time is focused on those strategy pieces. Again, I work with a senior level executive team. So that's why we really want to get to that 1 day per week. It is just focused. Now that typically is broken up over 2 hours here, a half a day here, whatever it is. But we want that time for them. And we work hard to work on all their business processes. We work on all their execution to get them that time to be able to think. And that's the other aspect that a lot of people struggle with when we're talking about strategic planning. It takes multiple years to get to the point to where you have a fully vetted process for your strategic planning. You have the time allotted and built in. The only way you can do that is by making your business processes better. This isn't something you can do over the course of a year or even 2 years. It's typically 3 to 5 years before you're to the point where you can get traction on a lot of these larger strategic initiatives. Again, great article. Be sure to check it out here. It gives you some stuff to think about here. And if you're curious about how I help my clients with their strategic planning, feel free to reach out. You can get a hold of me at summitbusinessguys.com. And if you like the value I was delivering here, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. So with that, take care, and I will see you next time.